Are you all stocked up in the event of an emergency? Hello everybody, this is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and if you've been following me for a while, you know that I love to vacuum seal. But today's video is not just about vacuum sealing. Today we're going to talk about the two easiest ways to stock up on food quickly. And if I am asked one question more than any other, it is, Deb, why in the world do you stock up on food? Well, for me, it's pretty easy. We have lived on a farm most of my life, and well, that's how you farm. You grow your food, and then you stock it up for the rest of the year. But now I have found many more reasons why I want my pantry to always be filled. We live in West Virginia, and honestly, the stores are not that close to us. So having food on hand means I'm not having to run an hour to pick up food. Another reason I stock up is that I can store foods and it saves me money. If I find pasta on sale, I know I can store it for at least 10 years. But mainly, I store food because of food insecurity. That simply means there are some things that are going on in this world that I am not real excited about. Have you heard the word tariff? What about Roundup Ready corn? There are pesticides, GMOs, artificial sweeteners, colors, and anything else you can imagine. So what I do is I buy organic and I stock it whenever I can find it. But those are all reasons for another video at another time. What I want to do today is to share some ways that you can stock up your pantry as fast as possible. Let's get started. Number one, the absolute fastest way to fill up your pantry is to buy freeze-dried meals. Whether you're buying large cans that have one item in them, like classic spaghetti, or you're buying these buckets that have 22 servings of meals that go from breakfast to dinner, or you're buying cans of mixes, all of these have one thing in common. They last for over a decade. In fact, most of them last for 25 years. They're also pretty easy to find. You can order them off Amazon, or you can even go into the camping section of stores, such as Walmart. They offer a wide variety of foods so that everybody can find something that they would enjoy. But don't get too excited. There are 3 distinct negatives about purchasing these foods. Nearly every one of these requires you to add boiling water to it. If we compare that to home canned foods, I can simply heat up these beans and eat them. The next issue to be concerned with is the cost. These packets started out relatively inexpensive. Over the last few years, they have skyrocketed. One meal could easily cost you $12. And the last reason, we try really hard to only eat organic food. That's not very difficult since we raise most of our foods, but you would be really hard pressed to find this inorganic. So what's a person to do? For me, I fill the gaps by vacuum sealing. This week, I was able to go to a homesteading event and do a booth all about vacuum sealing. And what it did was it motivated me to continue talking about this awesome way to preserve food. The way that vacuum sealing works is to remove the air from the jar. Once you remove the air, you keep the critters out so that nothing is going to get in there, from moths to mice. You're also keeping out moisture, and that will successfully keep your food much longer than just sticking it in your pantry. And I know the very next question you're all going to ask is, well, how long does vacuum sealed food last? Every food lasts a different time frame. You can go back and look at some of my videos, but they are going to last from at least 2 years to 25, and the items vary greatly. The reason I choose vacuum sealing is I'm able to seal the foods that I typically buy, not just the foods that I raise myself for my gardens. Now let me talk just a brief moment about gardening, because what we do is raise a lot of our foods. I store all of my seeds in these locked boxes. I have tons of them, and I try to sort them actually by who the manufacturer is. So this one is Baker Creek. I absolutely love their seeds. What I do then is right before I start planting season, I put all of my seeds into a big tub in alphabetical order so I can figure out which varieties I want to plant. And you might be saying, now, wait a minute, Deb, I thought you only eat organic. Well, first off, I don't eat eggplant, but these are non-GMO seeds. All seeds in America are non-GMO. Don't let that one fool you. But I wanted you to know that these seeds came from one of two places. Some came from Dollar General, some came from Dollar Tree. And at the end of the year last year, they were a penny a pack. You better believe I will be planting them. If you have never raised food, I highly recommend that this is the year you start. It is getting so expensive to buy food. You can grow a lot of these things pretty easily. And if you don't have land, if you have a porch and a big pot full of dirt, you can raise food. At the beginning of this video, I mentioned that one word, tariffs, and let me talk about how that is going to influence what we are spending in America. The most obvious is that food from other countries is suddenly going to cost more. And you might say, well, I'll just buy more local food. There are some big things that are facing farmers now that are going to make the costs of food go up. For one, it's getting more difficult to raise our own foods. We have winds, insects, heat, animals. The soil that we are purchasing this year, I noticed most of them are Miracle-Gro. I refuse to use a synthetic fertilizer on my garden. So all we use is rabbit poop, and it's getting harder and harder to find organic soil. When I go to like Walmart, it's almost all Miracle-Gro, and I simply will not do that. And as I mentioned before, you simply can't raise all the foods that you eat. Yes, you can buy pasta. You can make homemade pasta. It's just a lot of work. But think about the foods you eat. What is one thing you cannot live without? Oh, for me, that would be coffee. Did you know you can raise your own coffee? But beware, this little bush has to be moved inside in the winter in West Virginia. It only gets about 3 feet tall, but you can raise coffee. Let's do some vacuum sealing. Now, 3 of the top items that I vacuum seal by purchasing is oats, popcorn, and rice, because none of these 3 do I raise myself. And the food I'm going to demonstrate is cereal. Yes, a lot of people don't eat cereal because of all the sugar and because of all the crap that they put in it if it's not organic. I only eat these cereals now. These are my favorite. The coconut chia comes from Aldi, and the Rice Krispies, which are organic, come from Wise Markets. I used to get a big bowl and mix this all together. Who has time for this? I have some seeds to plant in the garden yet today if the rain stops. You might wonder why I mix these 2 cereals. Well, I love granola, but boy, is it heavy, and heavy means full of calories. There are 230 calories for every half cup. Who eats a half cup of cereal? So that's 460 calories. Woo! Or I can add Rice Krispies. That has 150 calories per cup. I typically use half-gallon jars because they are so large. So they're going to hold a lot. If I'm going to vacuum seal it, I want a full jar. I start by washing them in hot soapy water the night before, and then I let them air dry. You do not need to put them in the oven and bake them. This is not canning. It is a lot easier. Before you pour your dry ingredients in there, make sure it is completely dry. Typically overnight is plenty of time. And I'm going to use a wide mouth funnel so I don't get cereal all over everything. Wondering if your cereal is already vacuum sealed? Give it a little squeeze. Oh, look at that. It is full of air. Nope, it is not vacuum sealed. And no, it will not last that long in the plastic bag. I'm simply going to alternate pouring the cereal into the jar. I'm not real concerned with mixing it all up in there. Once it looks like you filled it up, remove this funnel and you will find there's actually a lot of space in there. It looks like it's almost to the top, but I want you to start rocking it and thumping it. And what's going to happen, this layer is going to move on down and you can put some more in there. This is the second time that I've lowered it. I'm going to add a little more. And as you can see, I poured my Rice Krispies all over the counter. I aim for that lower line when I'm filling it up, so it's about there. And what I'm going to do, wipe it with my hand and put a used lid on it. This one says organic flour, but you can use these lids over and over until they don't seal anymore. The next thing I'm going to add is the jar attachment that goes on top of that flat lid until it snaps, like that. I prefer to use my food saver. This is the FM5200, and whichever one you choose, make sure it has a port. It's going to look like that, and this is what gets plugged in the top of your jar attachment, just like that. Then turn on your vacuum sealer and push accessory. And your sealer will shut off automatically when the air is removed. Next, you take off all the parts. It's hard. There you go. And that. You want to make sure that it is definitely sealed. It is sunk in the middle. When I pull on the outside, it's not coming off. I can lift it just by that edge, but this jar is definitely sealed. You want to put a ring on it. This is actually a paper towel holder that I got from Dollar Tree, and I have like 3 of them just to hold the rings that I use. And that way I keep it in the kitchen. Every time I open something, I have a place to put those rings. You want to put a ring on it. This is not canning. Canning, you take the rings off to store. Vacuum sealing, you definitely want it on. Many of my subscribers say that they do not store their jars with the rings on. Well, you can do anything you want in your pantry, but if somebody's going to bump that jar, I want a ring on it. I want to show you this. This is the regular size adapter. So you can vacuum seal in both wide mouth and regular mouth. This corn is actually a regular mouth. Now it's got the ring on it, so it's not going to fit. But this was the size that I used to seal that jar. Another accessory I really love is the shaker top. This fits inside a ring, so after I have dried up some of my herbs, I keep small jars of them in the kitchen with the shaker lid on it. You may be wondering why I have cupcake liners in my pantry. I use those to vacuum seal anything that is a powder. I just put this on the top of the jar, put the lid over it, and vacuum seal it. And now my vacuum sealer will not pull all that powdery stuff into it and break it. And just a little exciting news, I should hit 30,000 subscribers this weekend. It has been exactly 2 years since I started this YouTube channel. I want to thank you for your support, your encouraging words, your comments, everything that you do that has supported me from the start, and I appreciate it. You guys are so much more than subscribers. You literally are my friends across the world. And if you've been here a while, you know that my stockpile is getting a little low. Normally, this is 3 jars deep. So over the next couple months, I'm going to be restocking a lot of this. If you enjoyed this video on how to quickly stock up in your pantry, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.